Thursday. We're back again for another episode of Thursday Night Live with those two sisters. I have
Yes.
actually remembered to put our stuff in the description, so make sure y'all get in the description box below, check in there, follow Yes I'm a Unicorn, and like, share, and subscribe. What's up, sis?
Yes. Oh, what's going on? It's been such a beautiful week. This week was a sneaker. Like, it just snuck right on by me. Like, I remember Monday, and I remember thinking, like, oh, okay, it's Monday. And then I just remember thinking, like, next thing you know, it's Thursday morning. I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. But I mean, like, obviously I didn't like binge out and pass out. But it was like, the work was just going so steadily that the time just flew by. Even the days I felt like were so short this week.
Yeah,
It was
I don't know how it's Thursday right now.
I would look up and it would be like, 9:15, and then I would look up and it'd be like 2, and I'm like, oh my god, what? This week went by so fast. But listen, I'm here, I'm healthy, I'm happy. There's a lot going on in the world, a lot to talk about. One thing that okay, listen, I wanted to start us off with this because it was so funny because when I saw the clip, okay, first of all, let's talk about this. Mama Tina, Beyonce's mother, is so hilarious, and she's like shady, and
talking about her post that she had.
It's a lot of things that she be doing that's like, I understand exactly why she did. I wonder what her sign is, because she's really petty.
Let me see.
And I love it. I'm here for it.
What do you think she is?
Huh?
What do you think she is?
I think she might be like a Leo, or
it would make sense if she was a Leo.
She could be a Gemini.
If she's a Gemini, that's wild. I think
she could be a Taurus too. She could be a Taurus. I don't know. I mean,
I'm gonna look it up while you're talking.
I was getting ready to say like, I don't know a lot about her, but I probably do know a lot about her.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Hey, Blondie. Huh?
No, this one is just so unruly. No matter what happens.
Oh my god, that's the. Like, you know what? You need to name it. I'm gonna name it. That's I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna name that one, and I'll tell you the name of it at the end of the show.
She's a Capricorn. She's a Capricorn. She's a Capricorn. But guess which day her birthday's on? You're probably gonna be able to guess.
1/14.
No, that's Craig's birthday. But
yeah,
you're almost close. Come on now, when you guess it, you're gonna be like, oh, obviously.
Give me a second.
It's in January. Just think about when everybody else's birthday is. Beyonce and when.
Oh, really? The 4th?
It's the 4th. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
It's January 4th. So she's a Capricorn.
Okay, well, listen. I love me some Mama Tina. She's effing hilarious.
They can't be petty. But anyway, go ahead.
You said they can be petty? Oh, okay.
They can be petty if they want to.
Listen, she's hilarious. I think some people can be petty and it's welcomed. Some people can be petty and it's like, okay, get over it. Like, we're past that. Some people can be petty and it's funny. You know what I'm saying? I feel like hers is more like, it's look a little shady. Like, it's like, oh, Mama Tina, that wasn't appropriate.
Beyonce's mother, how would your attitude be?
Hello, because you know what, Beyonce, I don't know what it is about her. Maybe she just has decided that, like, I'm not going to let this bullshit past this point. No bullshit beyond this point will affect me, because I've seen a couple of things in her, like, documentaries and stuff that I think that she probably, like, lives by. But it's like, to be a certain amount of creative, you cannot be affected by the minutia that everyone else lets affect them. And I see that in her, in the way that she's able to, like, no one past this point, you know what I mean? And then she can, do the things with her artistry.
Yeah, because everyone, they're strangers.
Right.
Why would I care about these
people? Right,
people?
and at the end of the day...
I really... Go ahead.
No, I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I really do admire the way that Beyonce's people. I mean, let's just go ahead and call it what it is. That is an actual action, or non-action to Beyonce somebody. Like, you just don't respond because I'm over here living my life. Like, because if she starts to engage, it's going to be never ending. Like, she probably can see what, that her counterparts get no benefit from doing that, going back and forth when they see comments and stuff like that. But I mean, I would imagine she probably speaks out about it in her family, in her family circle or whatever. Like, these people, da da da. But it's a waste of time to come down and even address it. So, and I didn't even mean to say it like come down, but it's like, you are one person that is a superstar. You cannot come and then start like, feeding into stuff that really doesn't matter. But I do see her mother being in a good position. I mean, but she's in a good position because, like, if that was your daughter, like, what would you be like? You can't tell me nothing.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And I completely
say it. But I really do feel like that the reason why Beyonce doesn't say anything, I don't think it was something that she forethought. I think it probably started out as them not letting her talk like that. You know what I'm saying? And then as she got older. Well, whoever is, whoever is her, I'm not even trying to say handler or whatever, but whoever is in charge of her. Because, in the beginning, it had to be like different. But I'm pretty sure that they had put something in place to be like, okay, we're not just going to be out here saying random stuff and posting random stuff on the internet. Like, that probably was something that was set forth. Like, we're going to do stuff in this way and blah, blah, blah.
This is how we're going to conduct things from here on out.
Yeah, and then it kind of carried on. Because think about how old she was when she came out. Like, imagine where your mom was then. Like, you probably would have, gone back and forth with this. I mean, just as some of her counterparts did. Like, they all, everybody pretty much takes an L when it comes to that because it's never ending. You know what I mean? But then she got the Beehive too. So, as she probably got older, it was like, oh, this is a thing. Like, I don't address anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I do know that in the beginning she was very self-conscious about the way she sounded because recently this clip surfaced of like Kelly talking to Brandy. And Brandy apparently had said some things when they were younger, like, y'all sound country. And I remember that being a thing for them, that like they were, Beyonce has said publicly that she was embarrassed of like the way that she spoke and stuff, like as far as like her dialect, because they were from the South. I think that was probably one of the reasons why she stopped doing interviews, because she just wasn't confident.
Yeah, but I'm saying my personal thought, to me, this thought is that is a plausible like thing. Yeah. But it also matters what she was also saying in those interviews too, because was she really sounding
country?
I don't even want to say country, but was she saying anything, or was she, you know what I'm saying, or was it just more? Was it something to give the public to talk about?
Yeah.
I feel like somebody came in and said, we're not doing this anymore. This is that. I feel like that's what happened. I don't think it was her that just said,
oh, that's a great point.
I think because she was young, right? And
it's so like, this really isn't giving us value. This isn't tracking us to more sales. Let's stop doing that.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, I don't know. I just feel like she was so young at the point where she came in that certain things were just set into place, and then she just went along with it, and then it just made more sense that she got older to keep certain things like that. Like it was smart not to address the public. Now she can't do it because she probably really doesn't care. You know what I'm saying?
At this point, it's kind of like a Michael Jackson thing, and you had said something that stuck with me over the last couple of weeks, which was you feel like she might be sort of imprisoned in a way, and I can understand that. Because it's like you can't really do all the things that other people can do, right? Without causing some sort of,
you can't just run to the store, or you know what I'm saying, because somebody's gonna notice you. Hey, Gwendolyn. So I like in that sense, a lot of them are in prison, but like her especially is because like one of the things that feed that is that we never really hear from her, right? We don't really get to see what she's doing, which makes the demand for her a lot stronger, because people are, oh, well, will we get a glimpse or whatever, how people are. It's like creating the demand for it. And so, and at this point, like I said, it's just a part of her life. And she probably, I'm not saying that she feels in prison, but I'm just saying, like, you can't move like you want to move.
Right.
You can't say.
For sure. It's absolutely true.
Everybody's watching, everybody's listening, and somebody's ready to, look, this is the year of exposure, I guess.
Oh
People
my
are saying.
God.
But
Oh my God.
remember we talked about Jay-Z possibly being like involved in stuff or whatever, like
Yes.
what would happen. Maybe she's setting herself up to make sure that she's good regardless. I don't know. It's a whole bunch of different like conspiracy theories out there about that. But I thought I saw that somebody is one of his alleged children are trying to sue him or something like that. I was like, oh my God, I gotta look up and see whose page it was on. But I was like, oh Lord, here we go with this stuff. Cause like, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Stuff is gonna come out and we don't know what that stuff is, but
I don't know either, because there's certain things that like come out and then nothing comes of it. Like, listen, I'm not trying to go here, but we're here. Okay. Christian Keys a few months ago put that thing out, and I still don't know exactly who he's talking about. I assumed he was talking about Tyler Perry, and then other things came out, and then I thought it might be other people, and then nothing ever happened with that. So I'm like,
well, I mean, something probably happened. He probably got
right. Where is he? Does anyone done a wellness check?
Bank account. He's promoting his skincare line. He's promoting his I think he was on All Rise. He's promoting that. And then he has the other show, All the Queens of Men, but I don't think that came back yet. I don't know. But yeah, he's been on Instagram doing his little Instagram lives and stuff like that. He hasn't said anything else about that as far as
he hasn't mentioned it.
No, I think somebody greased them pockets, to be honest. It's sad to say.
No, sir. You owe us an explanation.
That like you woke us up and said, we were all
never mind, everybody. I was just playing.
But whatever. Anyway.
That's really ridiculous. Okay, anyway, I'm glad you gave us an update on that. So anyway, but my whole point of bringing up Tina Knowles was that it was through her that I first heard of this story. This is about manifestation, people. This young man, 2-year-old, was having a lunch or something with his mother in the mall, and it's so cute. Like, I saw this clip, and when I first saw it, Tina Knowles was the person who posted it. And I thought it was cute, but I was like, okay, now that he said this, what's going to happen? Because Tina Knowles obviously has it. So anyway, let me tell you what's happening here. So imagine this little kid in the mall with his mom, and he was like, "Mommy, where's Beyonce? Like, where is she? I want to talk to her." And she was like, her mom was like, "Oh, well, I don't know. I'm not friends with Beyonce. Like, sorry, honey." He's like, "No, I want to go to Beyonce's house. I want to visit her." And she was like, "I'm sorry, honey. Well, I don't know her." You know what I mean? Like, and he was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "I'm friends with her." It was one of those things where I felt like I don't necessarily remember being 2 years old, but I remember being at an age where I felt like what I was saying was true. But it wasn't, you know what I mean? It's just like, so I can understand completely where he was coming from. He was like, "Well, she's my friend." You know what I mean? How is she not your friend? Like, what do you mean? We can't go to her house? Like, she's my friend. So anyway, when this was posted, I laughed because I was like, "Oh, well, Mama Tina got the thing. So what's going to happen?" So anyway, she sent him these flowers, and I don't know if she called him or what, but I was thinking to myself, like, this is so funny because human beings are human beings, and you can manifest anything. And I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to get all hippie or whatever, but I did feel when I saw this originally that this young kid was like, I'm not going to say he was manifesting it, but I was just like, he was so certain. I was like, like the chances and the odds of him coming into Beyonce's stratosphere at some point in his life, I thought were pretty high because you see these people that online that are like, "Oh, I've been DJing for 12 years, and I really I've been dancing for 9 years, and I always wanted to work with Janet Jackson." And it's like, you say it enough times, and then next thing you know, they're on tour with Janet Jackson. And it's like, see, right? Like, you just drew yourself to it. Like, every step you took, every day you got up and thought about that. That was the thing that you were going to go do, regardless of whether you thought it was or not. Now, this young man is 2 years old, so obviously he doesn't know any of that, but, like, maybe that's the sauce. He didn't have any friction.
I mean, so the thing is, yeah, right? Like, he probably really believed it. When you're that age, like I said before, that meme about the phone and the kid, if the kid calls you from the play phone, you better answer that. You know what I'm saying? They're seriously thinking that you're on the other end of that phone. Hand you a phone, right? Like the belief is there, and that's part of manifestation too. Yeah, I mean, it's not something that's like mystical and magical, but you do have to believe in what you're saying or whatever. Now, I think that also that what work with that is that mom is familiar with social media, and she's like, let me go ahead and
let me post this.
Somebody go send it to the beehive or whatever. So, but yeah, like that was cute. When I listened to that, I was like, okay. It's funny though how it's probably a lot of things like this that celebrities
That's what
do, but we don't always get to hear about these things. That a lot of these things like this that celebrities do, because it's videos of people who talk about celebrities and I want to come, I want them to come because I'm about to, maybe somebody got cancer. Like I've seen those things happen, but they rarely go viral. You know what I mean? So but it's Beyonce, so
I mean,
I'm not surprised, but that was cute. Mom knew exactly what
she was doing. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that because he's a cute kid and he's really okay. So first of all, can we talk about this? Okay, I hope this doesn't come off wrong, but they're in the Philippines and he speaks some really good English. And I was just thinking to myself, like, okay, I don't know. I just feel like
this is so cute. Not speak English in the Philippines?
Sure, but there's also not the first language there. So anyway, all right, let me stop because I don't want to say anything and misspeak.
Oh my God.
Okay. So
all right, let's go ahead and drive right past that.
Just go ahead and scoot right past that. But anyway, she is sent him flowers and now they are actual friends. And this little stuffed animal is from her too. So I thought that was really cute.
I mean, okay, so I have to be that person on the internet, right? That's nice.
I
think that's nice. But come on now. What else could she have sent that would have made so much more of a difference? And send that too. Like send him a little toy or whatever, right? Send flowers, but he's too okay. But I feel like, come on, whoever was in charge of that,
Oh yeah.
She sent it herself, but whoever was in charge of that could have done a lot better. Like
she be sending a lot of flowers. I noticed that. Like it's like
a 2-year-old though. Like I would have been.
I know the 2-year-old is not necessarily gonna appreciate the flowers.
He should have got a package. Like okay, well,
some candy and some
I'm not even saying candy. I'm saying like he has his whole life ahead of him. You know what I'm saying? He's probably gonna want to go to college. He's probably gonna want to do some things. You know what I mean? So like, come on now. Did she send him money too?
They didn't say that, so I'm gonna say no.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm biased. I think that if you are a celebrity, and I don't care who doesn't like it, you know what I'm saying? If you're a celebrity, I feel like you can afford to give back to the kids. That's all I'm gonna say.
I get it. I get it. But you can't win them all.
You should be able to give back to a kid at any random moment. If any kid be like, or if anybody be like, oh, these kids over here, you as a celebrity, you should be like, all right, let me see what I can do. I'm not saying what they should do, but I'm saying it should always be like oh yeah, let me go do that for the kids. Let me go do that somewhere, right? Anyway, I digress.
No, that's good. That's all good stuff. What's funny is I don't know why that reminded me of something that's not even on this list. You know what? Let's go to this next topic, and that's going to lead us into what I was just thinking about. Listen, everybody, I was really excited by this. R&B Money, if you know, R&B Money is a podcast with Jay Valentine. Take their 100th episode. They're interviewing Chris Brown. Now, I think it got released yesterday. I looked for it yesterday. I couldn't find it, but I saw some more of it today. And listen, everybody, I'm such a big Chris Brown fan. It's ridiculous because it's not even like I'm a fan in the way that I know all his songs. Like I know a lot of his songs, but like I'm such a fan of what he's done in the industry and what he continues to do and like his business model and just his personality and how he shows up in the spaces that he creates. But I am so excited. I still haven't seen this because I chose to watch the part of the Amanda Seales interview that I watched over this R&B Money podcast, even though the R&B Money podcast is hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
I love this podcast. But yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I cannot wait to go and watch and listen to this podcast with Chris Brown being interviewed by Tank and Jay Valentine. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm excited too. I'm backed up with interviews. Like I gotta go listen to this one. I gotta go listen to the Amanda Seales one. I gotta go listen to Tabitha Brown. She was just on Lewis Howes recently, so I want to go listen to that. So yeah, I'm pretty backed up, and I'm excited about that because I also am a Chris Brown fan. Um, and so yeah, I want to see this interview.
Yeah, for sure. I think that he's gone through a lot in his career, and I know people sort of hold him in a controversial space, but when I really look back on things, it's not really that controversial. Like, people do things and they were wrong, and then they get over it. Like, it's fine. Like, he isn't, he's who he is today. So that's what I'll say about that. I'm not trying to just like bury anything he's done, but it's also like, listen, man, some things that happened years ago, you got to just like move on. You know what I mean?
I think that we weren't there. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, that happened, and people had to do what they had to do, accept the consequences that they had to accept. And I feel like he's still accepting consequences to this day.
For sure.
But yeah, like I think that I really like the fact that when he's out in public, he is always willing to take a picture and and entertain his fans. Not even entertain, but engage his fans. Right? He's not one of those people that be like, get out of here or whatever. So I do like that. So yeah, I can't wait to see that interview. I love the R&B Money podcast, and it's like when people go on there, it's like their personality just comes out when they get on that podcast. So I don't know. I can't wait to see that one.
I can't wait to see that one either. And I know exactly what you mean as far as like, oh man, basically everything you said, ditto. But yeah, when people go on there, their personalities come out, and I'm here for it. I'm ready to see this straight. And like, listen, man, we all make mistakes. We got to move on. That's what I'll say about that.
I mean, because this is the thing that I always try to look at too, is that like everybody has done stuff growing up. Like, your situation may not be the same as this person, no, but everybody has something that they may not want. That might not be their shining moment, right? And so I feel like with this situation, it's interesting because it was something that happened in public and people entered it, right? Like, they intervened on it and called the police and stuff like that. I feel like they would have been, it's a lot of people who were that age having worse situations that was just, that just kind of went under the rug because the people themselves that were involved in it did not call the police, right? Not saying that it was right, but they were two youngins fighting each other, right? I don't know. I just feel like something had to happen because who knows how it would have ended up, right? But who knows how it would have ended up had nobody done anything. Like, we don't know. We don't know what would have happened. So I don't know.
No, you do know. I feel like, look, I'm here for whatever Chris does. You know me. It's a touchy topic, but I'm not gonna. I just can't.
It's just like the Freaknik thing. Like, all of you people who were down there at Freaknik, not you. Like, what were you guys thinking about? You know what I mean? That's an indiscretion that I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't want to be exposed, or didn't want to be exposed, or wouldn't have wanted to be exposed. So I mean, I feel like people, when you are young, unfortunately, a lot of the decisions that we make are life altering and life changing, and we don't realize the detriment until we get older. You know what I mean?
Hello.
So, thankfully, I mean, some people get through it without making too bad of mistakes, but like, it's so crazy how you have to make some really serious decisions at a time when you really don't fully even understand life yet.
What the repercussions are.
Yeah.
It's
so
really
for that, I gotta give, not give people a pass, but give them some grace, because everybody gotta grow. And it's been so many years, right? And then we can just see, how does he treat people now? What what's going on?
Right. He's always being kind to his fans, and he inspires people, and he's honestly one of the best talents we've seen. So, there's that. Anyway, listen.
Yeah, Blondie Monique said Chris Brown is talented.
Period. Period. So we all agree on that. Look, there's another thing that's kind of adjacent to this. So there's all this beef because like people are talking about how Chris Brown called out Quavo in some basketball game, whatever. And I don't really know about all of that beef, but I do know about this rap beef that's happening right now, which is wild. So this isn't even on our topics list, but I just have to say, I'm not necessarily into the rap beef sector or whatever, just because it doesn't excite me. Like I remember like Ether, like I going back, I remember like Biggie and Tupac, and like I was super into that, right? Like I remember hearing those records, and Tupac was going really hard. He was saying things that I had never heard anybody say. So I mean, I remember that being very exciting, but I guess I don't even know if that was the first rap beef. You know what I'm saying? But it was exciting then. But ever since then, rap beef as a term has been coined, and every so often we get these people who are rivaling or who have a rivalry. I don't even know if I said that, if that was a real word, but who have a rivalry. The most effective one that I can recall is when Kanye West and 50 Cent had their albums debut on the same day, and they both showed up at 106 in Park. And I thought that was really cool because
I miss 106 in Park.
Hello. I used to, man, let me tell you something. That was my show. But
106 in Park used to be
man, that joint used to rock. But I remember when they both came out and they were like, beefing or whatever, like, but the point was like, hey, everybody go buy our album and see who wins. And then it was like a call to action. It's like somebody's gonna, everybody's gonna win because we're all gonna get paid. You know what I mean? But I don't understand at this point in time how exactly artists get paid from streaming. And I don't think, listen, that whole situation needs to be looked at and redeveloped. But so I don't understand at this point in time, like how a rap beef is beneficial to the artists and the people who created the music and who created like the actual content. And I also don't understand how it's helpful to, well, I do understand how it could be helpful to the genre, but only if the business models were pointing back to the people who were creating the product. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't make sense to me because it's like rap beef just seems like controversy with no payout. Or the payout doesn't go to the people who caused the attention to be spread.
I mean, I don't know how far rap beef goes, but I feel like the biggest one for me was Jay-Z and Nas, right? But then you also had like East Coast versus West Coast. You had, I don't know if they still had rap battles back in the day when it was like Kool and the Gang. And
Can you imagine? Probably they were that's ciphering. I suppose that was how far it went.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Like, let's meet on 85th and battle this out.
I can't really. I don't know. I don't take Drake. I'm an old person now. I'm not into the rap beefs or whatever. So I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to ask your nephew to explain to me what's going on with the because I think Kendrick Lamar and I was like, what is happening?
Well, let me tell you where the state of it is. I won't go back over all the history, but Kendrick Lamar, I think, was the person who started this out. But anyway, like Future, Metro Boomin, all these people got involved, and then recently Kanye got involved. Kanye is going through some stuff, y'all. I don't really know what to say, but they're all Rick Ross. They all kind of, I would say they ganged up on Drake, and I think it's one of those things where when people don't like you, they're waiting for the opportunity to talk about why they don't like you, and I think Drake probably is. Okay, listen, guys, I've never met Drake. Okay, so I'm sorry, but we're going to talk about this because we're here. He doesn't seem like a nice man. He doesn't seem like, you know what I'm saying? Like he in some ways he seems entertaining for sure, but like he doesn't care about the well-being of, like he's Drake. Like he's here to do what he came to do. And so I think he probably is sort of like an asshole and people don't like him. The only reason I say that is because all of these people were waiting to like beef with him.
We live in a world where clout is king to some people, okay? And just because somebody comes out to say something doesn't necessarily mean, like, some of these beefs doesn't even necessarily mean that they're beefing. They just want us to think they're beefing because here's how it happens. Like, look at how YouTube does, right? This probably, I don't know exactly how the streaming part works either, but this is what I imagine. You got this person that comes out with the album, and they may have talked about somebody in there, but then you have all these other people that come out to talk about this person's album. Now, the people who are diehard fans for this person who came out with this album are gonna go see what shit is being talked about their favorite person by these other people. These other people are getting the clout, i.e., streams, because people that are fans of the other person want to hear what they are saying about their person, right? So it goes on and on like that, because if you get paid per stream, right, and I put out an album and and then you put out a response to it, it's going to be cross promotion. So both people make the money, and then they probably not even beefing for real. You know what I'm saying? It's just a ploy for everybody to go and buy all this, who knows? Because we're not spending time with these people. They probably, cheers. I mean, I hope they fucking drop their albums and watch the numbers go up.
Everybody, I hope they're all like really lucrative, like they're making really lucrative moves, but at the same time, I didn't necessarily care to listen. So, like, to be honest with you, full transparency, everyone, I haven't listened to this. And James asked me the other day, like, did you listen to this? Did you listen to the response? Oh my God, did you listen to this? I was like, no.
See?
Of course I didn't. Turn that shit off.
No, but see how he so that's the thing. It's just like a business. Everybody's not going to be the intended target, right? And that's fine. But the people who care, they're all eating it up, and that's what they wanted. So, like, we don't really matter. They're like, it wasn't for you anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but I can see how, like I said, we don't even know if they're beefing for real. Like, that's why, sometimes people are too invested. We just see little bitty parts of their days or whatever, and it looks like, oh, they might be beefing. Oh, they said this, they said that, but it's like reality TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might not like each other, but then they might also just be getting paid by all the same people. I don't know.
One reason was, so the other thing that I didn't say was that what's his name? J. Cole. The original, like, I guess he's the one who put out the first response to Kendrick Lamar's beef. And I thought what was interesting is, like, he took it back. It was wild because I was thinking to myself, imagine if they took, if Nas took Ether back, or, like, you can't do that. Like,
it back.
You can't take it back. It's out there. You said it. You said what you said and we heard you, buddy. You know what I mean?
Like, back in the tube. It's already out.
But I get, I don't know. I don't get it, but I understand the logic of, like, what he was saying was like, oh, I don't want to downplay him and his work and all this. It's just like, but dude, you, like, either you're part of this or you're not. And we'll see how this plays out. But apparently.
But it's all for entertainment. Like, listen, we don't find out about these things by accident, right? It's like, it's really known what gets America going. And by America, I don't mean like 100% of America, but the masses that be on the internet, they know how to drive people. Like, it's just very interesting to watch. It's just very interesting to watch. I'll say that. Cause I don't know. If you don't care about it, like, I don't follow Drake. But back when Biggie and Tupac was beefing and Nas, like, we were all into it. You know what I'm saying? We were all not into it like we wanted it to happen, but everybody was like following what was going on, what's happening, So it's just the same thing, but it's just the people change. Because I just don't take Drake seriously. I don't know.
I don't either. it's always been that way for me. Like I remember back in whenever I found out about him, and I didn't really,
Hey, Kamisha.
I didn't really care for him. But hey, Kamisha, I didn't really care for him back then. But I just remember, hearing about him and that. Okay, you know what I remember? I remember Nicki Minaj was also like sort of up and coming, and they have both taken on a similar business model and they were shaking things up, because typically the business model was you get a mixtape out there, and then you're hot, your name is hot in the streets, and your mixtape is doing well, and then then you can sign a deal. Both Nicki and Drake waited for the deal, which was very unheard of at the time, but was also such a good move, because a lot of artists, they go into debt with the deal. Like the deal means, depending on what kind of deal you sign, whenever you sign something, you're promising something, right? It's like your signature is your promise that you're going to deliver something. And with these deals, especially if we talking about like some Diddy deals were not okay. But it's like
a lot of them deals were bad back then. Like a bunch of people ended up broke. You know what I mean?
And it's like, they're taking your money from you before you make it. So it's like you're signing on to this deal. They're going to charge you on the front end for your studio time, for your wardrobe and your tour expenses. And you're thinking you're just making all these choices and it's part of it. But it's actually them, billing you on the front end. Like they're running up the tab for you, so that when your album drops, like whatever you're going to make from the album is going to be counted against the bill you've run up. But even more sinister than that, it's like sometimes people lock people into deals, and they know that these acts are not going to survive. They're not going to have careers that long. I hate to bring this up, but this is a prime example. I'm sorry, everybody. Listen. Diddy signed Cassie to a 10 album deal. And there's no way she had 10 albums in her, everyone. She's not Mozart. Okay. Like, shout out to Cassie. Love her what she stands for and all that. I'm glad she started this movement of people telling their truth. And she has much more to offer the world, but they won't be 10 albums, especially not 10 pop albums following It's Me and You. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, that was never going to happen. So, but like, this is what I'm talking about when you're talking about these sharks in the game. It's like, he knew that, other people knew that there's never going to be 10 albums coming out of this artist. But it's like, you kind of trap people in some aspects. So, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, that's what I was talking about with the record deals. But I feel like, as far as
wait, I'm sorry. Who was the person that Chris Brown was going against? Was it Quavo?
Well, he said something about
Chris Brown dropped this record.
Say again.
You said I said Chris Brown dropped this record, didn't he?
So he does have a record out there, but this all started. So what I'm talking about is like what happened with the whole Drake and Kendrick Lamar thing.
No, I know. I'm sorry. I was reading Kamisha's comment about Chris Brown ate him up, and I remember it before that we mentioned that Chris Brown, when we were talking about everybody, we mentioned that Chris Brown said something and had dissed somebody, and I was trying to figure out who it was.
Yeah, it was Quavo.
Okay.
Because he said something to the effect of he actually has a rap single out there right now, and
yeah, I think that's what she was talking about. So anyway,
so there were some things said there about when Takeoff was taken out, like when he got shot, and how like people wished it was him and all this other stuff like that. I would have never said, but people have their artistry. So anyway, we'll move on from that, because I don't want to say anything, like, listen, I would never say like we wished it was you. That's a little much.
People say anything these days. I wouldn't say that either, but people be saying stuff like that. I see it. I be seeing it.
Look, let's get to this topic, because I've watched some of this. This is when I say this, I'm talking about the Amanda Seales and Shannon Sharp interview. Now, these people be coming on the Shannon Sharp show, okay, Club Shay Shay, and they be talking for a long time. These be 3-hour interviews.
After they've been edited.
Edited 3-hour interviews. So how long are they there? They got to be there for like 5-6 hours. But I do understand, because me and you could get around and talk for like 6 or 7 hours. But I do understand that. But, okay, here's the thing. I'm not even going to talk about this entire interview because I haven't seen the entire thing. I've only seen about an hour and 20 minutes. It's a 3-hour interview, so I'm not even halfway through it. Parts of what I watched already were kind of cringy for several reasons. She's a very intelligent woman. And I'm not saying Shannon Sharp is not intelligent, but I just felt like they had several disconnects. And instead of they definitely worked through them, the ones that I saw, but it was like they were so perpendicular, like the turns were so harsh that I felt like, wow, like we almost needed a translator, because there was, and this person says this hurt to watch. I actually cringed. They must have been thinking about the same thing that I was thinking. But okay, this person, I wouldn't say this. They were like, Shannon Sharp just isn't smart enough to be engaging in conversations with Amanda Seales. I don't agree with that. I think that
everybody... let's watch the video first to see why. Watch the whole interview first before you say that, because that person is, I'm guessing they're talking about this interview.
Yeah, for sure. And I logically I can connect to what why they would say that, but I think on a larger scale, it's like everybody should be poised enough to talk to everybody else. Like if you're so intelligent, let's say you're a rocket scientist, right? And you're talking to someone with a 3rd grade education, right? Like you have the words to speak with them. Maybe you have words that are beyond their vocabulary, but you also could connect with them, right? Like there's always a street, there's always a lane, there's always a connection with which you can communicate. So if the person who's not, I just feel like everybody can communicate regardless of what their education level is or what their expertise level is. And, you might know a bunch about like how to build an engine, and I might know a bunch about how to, build something else. Like I could bake a cake, right? We both have different skill sets. It's not that we can't communicate with each other, so some of this was like a little bit cultural in a way, because it's like, sure, if you have information that another person doesn't have, it's not that that you're off limits to them. It's that, not that you're even having to have the burden of educating them, but you can find a lane of communication. So when people say like, oh, you don't even, I don't think that that's what they said. Let me not put words in their mouth. They said something like, he ain't smart enough to be engaging. I think that's incorrect. I'm not going to read the rest of the
sentence though. Let's see what he says, because I haven't watched the interview, so I don't know, but it says that he just ain't smart enough to be engaging in profound dialogues with people like Amanda Seales. He flourishes better with athletes, D-listers, and influencers. Even during Kat and Monique's interview, he was devaluing their pain. So the point I'm trying to make is, he's not just saying that he's not smart enough to engage. He's giving examples of why. And is that true?
Perhaps.
I do think that, yes, while I could have a conversation with somebody that's not on my intellectual level, if the person is asking me something that's not on their intellectual level and I have to explain it, it could become apparent that that's the case. It's not as saying that Amanda was pointing it out. It was something that could have been standing out to a viewer, right? And I haven't watched it, so I'm not going to say that that's true. I don't know. But I will say that he does have better conversations with the athletes. I don't know about Z-listers, but I felt like that because he knew them. He's familiar with them. He knows what they're going through or whatever. Because everybody, he's doing a really good job of interviewing, but this isn't the first interview that somebody has said that.
That's true.
Similar like that. It's like he wouldn't even have the right questions to ask a person if he doesn't know about it, right? If it's something that he's not familiar with. So it's the one thing to have the conversation, but it's like, okay, when Willie D did the interview with Cat Williams, everybody was like, what is happening right now? I thought it was still a good interview. Everybody has their own styles, but people were saying similar stuff to that, right? And it's like,
that like Willie didn't have the chops to interview a Cat Williams.
And it's like with interviews, there are, I feel like you should be you, right? And do what you do. So ask the questions you want to ask. Don't worry about that. But with this particular situation, I don't think he's saying that he's dumb. I just think that I take that as to say that he probably needs to prepare better. But I haven't watched it. I don't know.
All right, that's not what I'm taking from this statement. I'm taking from this statement that he is like that no amount of preparation would mask the fact that you're not smart enough to be in this room.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at. But I'm certainly obviously could be wrong, but listen.
I mean, because that last part is the part that I feel like is most important, because whenever somebody is talking about experience they had, and it's an experience, like let's just say it's domestic violence, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's anybody's place to question it in a way where it looks like it's being diminished. That as the person asking the question, you have to be smart enough to know that that's what you're doing. Because it's one thing to ask a question, but then how you follow up with that question really matters when it's a touchy situation. Like if it's because if somebody's telling you that they were wronged or violated, and then you come back and you're like, and like I said, I don't know what he said in this one. I don't know what.
Man, you sound like, I know you don't. I know that, but you sound like you do.
When I hear really people talk about, well, I saw the clip. Well, I didn't even see the clips because anyway. It's like when somebody says that they were violated, right?
Yeah.
It's really like, I understand that everybody has questions. There are only certain people who should be asking questions. But if you get into a conversation with somebody where you're able to be like asking about that, like how you ask about it matters, because it might give the impression that you are like victim blaming, right? Or not even victim blaming, but you're minimizing, like they said, diminishing what the person's experience was, as if to say, are you really sure that's what you experienced? Because it could have been this. Now, I feel like that's a disrespectful question, because it's like, I just told you this, and if you wanted more information about it, I feel like it could be worded differently. So the way that I take
ask more information.
So that's why I'm saying with this, I haven't watched the interview yet, but I feel like this person's comment is pretty much speaking to when you have an interview and y'all are talking about something, like it's a skill to be able to flow through it and touch on the stuff that needs to be touched on while it's being touched on. But with him, it's like a lot of, he's not, he can't finesse it. You feel what I'm saying? So it comes apart, and he might not mean any harm. But the point is, he should think about who he's interviewing, because I don't know. You're supposed to do research on the people you're interviewing anyway. And I would want to know if he follows her, if he looks at the stuff that she talks about. I don't know. I might be coming back to eat my words when I watch the interview, and I will go ahead and.
No, I don't think you will. Actually, I think you hit on some points. It's funny because sometimes you can get the gist of it from what you see out there, and sometimes you don't need to. Like, there have been times where where my mind was changed, but then there have been far many more times where I took an assessment of something on first glance, and then I read into it and I watched it and I did the thing, and then I was like, oh, this is more proof as to why I thought what I thought when I encountered it. So I think that's probably going to be your takeaway, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna watch it, because listen, I'll come back and say if I was wrong or whatever, but I feel like even the Cat Williams interview, I feel like Cat was driving. It was a Cat stand-up.
Yeah, Cat was definitely
there to make sure that it was, I don't know. Cat was driving that. Okay.
He definitely said some statements that I felt like were above Shannon's head, if I'm being honest. I was like, oh, he said that, like, that's not, it wasn't a put down, but it was kind of like an inside joke that went over his head. That's kind of how I felt with that. But, okay, just to address that, I do think
those can happen, but I mean, Shannon walks himself into it. Like I said, I need to watch this particular interview, but from the ones that I've seen, some of his line of questioning walks him into it. So I don't know. I digress. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
I'm gonna watch it too. I'm gonna watch the entire thing. But I do feel confident in saying, you know, what my thoughts are in the beginning of the interview, which are, yeah, I have a couple of takes, but you know, he did do that sort of like victim thing. But I don't think he was, you know, he didn't recognize it. But Amanda has this way of showing people, like, of bringing up something right in someone's face in the interview, like, oh, you're doing this. Did you see that you did that? Because I felt it. And it was wild. It was a wild ride. It was a wild thing to watch because I was like, oh my God, like she's not holding no cut cards. And at part I was thinking that like, oh, is this gonna make the room awkward? Is it an awkward room now? Or, you know, are they just talking about this when they're over?
A lot of other people in there too.
Yeah. I mean, there were several times there where it got thick, and I was like, it has to be awkward over there.
I might start watching it tonight, but
because you know what? One thing that I can appreciate about her, and like, I literally had to do some self checks because you know, she was pointing out things that were like, wow, like, this routinely happens to me as a Black woman. I didn't have the language to point it out the way that you're pointing it out. But wow, you know, now that you mention it, you're right, Amanda. This is racist. Like, or this is diminishing. Like, damn, I never said anything about it, but you're right. So like, there were several of those sort of like, I wouldn't even call them aha moments because they were so, I mean, like, there was just certain things that she was calling out that, like I said, I wasn't sure if the room was awkward or what, but she was telling the truth. She was not lying.
All right, I'm gonna start watching it tonight. It's on my list.
It's one of those things, but also it put me in a mood. Like, and like I said, I only watched like the first hour and maybe 20 minutes, but it put me in a mood where I was like, okay, I had to stop and go and do life. But then when I was like, when I come back, I need to be prepared for this level of heavy or whatever, right? Whatever I had told myself, who knows? And then I just never went back. So that was like yesterday. It's like, you know, weeks went by.
And a comment at the bottom was, whoever I said what I said says, this hurt to watch. Like, I actually cringed.
Yeah.
There were moments. I gotta watch it.
There were moments. There were definitely moments. Okay, so let me stop sharing because I don't want you to see the comments. Okay. You're gonna watch because basically,
I'll be all into the comments. That's what it is.
I don't want you to, you know, get other people's thoughts and then put those in your head and then, you know, be thinking their thoughts.
Yeah.
Thoughts. But it was a good, you know what? If anything, like her facial expressions. I mean, well, like, whoa.
First of all, how she was sitting there. Just let me know already. Like, look at her posture, how she's sitting there with her elbows on her knees, leaning over. So I already
this one. Hold on, let me try to share this one.
I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm gonna start watching it tonight.
Oh my God, let me share this video right here. Just a picture. Yo, this show was hilarious to me because I was like, like several times her face was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Caption
and then
that.
She would ask him things and be like, so do you think it was just, maybe it was this? And then like, she was obviously like being condescending. But
being it was herself probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've watched her a little bit, but I haven't followed her recently, but I know she's not like stupid. And I feel like, listen, you know that Club Shay Shay is an opportunity to be seen. And so,
yeah.
You know, I gotta watch the video before I make any comments, but just that right there, that's a caption this show. Like I would want to caption that picture.
I'm so grateful that people understand that too. Like this is the front stage for especially like just like now. I won't say this year, like there's a cap on it, but like Club Shay Shay is the place to go. And I think that Amanda Seales said that like I want to be interviewed there, and she was telling her story. So you know. That was like, you know, she went there to tell her story. And so she didn't, you know, listen, I'm not her representative or whatever, but I wouldn't have expected him to push back on things because he hasn't pushed back on people before
See,
necessarily.
so these are things we need to like just pay attention to while you're watching it, because who has he pushed back on? If he hasn't pushed back on anybody, why is he picking her, a woman, to push
Right.
back on when he had a whole bunch of men to hold accountable? But I digress. I'm gonna watch the
You're gonna watch it, and I can't wait to hear
what I
what you
gotta
have to
say,
say.
but it just does crack me up when, you know, I do see that happen a lot when women say certain things, and sometimes men ask these lines. They ask this line of questioning that just clearly kind of like minimizes what's going on, even though you want more information. What you're saying out of your mouth matters. So anyway, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it.
No, I'm so down with that. Okay, so listen, this next thing that we're gonna share, it's what we're gonna basically end on because this is great news and I'm so excited. Sarah Jakes Roberts is coming out with a new book. I've actually already pre-ordered it. I can't wait until it gets here. It's supposed to be, so I don't know when it gets released, but guess it gets released on the 30th. Like that's the day that I'm gonna receive it. When you pre-order something, like especially on Amazon, they'll make sure you get it on the day it's released. So they'll ship it out in enough time to get to you when you could go and buy it. So I already paid for that thing because I was like, first of all, I just so every time I encounter something with her, okay, wait, let me bring her up because we don't even have her on the screen and I'm talking about her. Let's share this tab instead. Every time that like something comes up about her, I have a thought in my mind of like, oh, okay, this is how this is gonna go. And she always seems to be able to exceed my expectations. Like, so I mean, and I just feel like I personally believe it's because she's just being real. I don't know if that's really the case. I know there's some controversy or whatever, but like I just feel like she's real. I feel like she's giving us her, and so I just can't wait to see this book succeed as well. But also, you had pointed out to me that she's on the Dear Future Wifey podcast.
I think it just came out yesterday. Also, Crystal Renee was on there too. From the team.
Yeah.
And she was on the Harley Initiated podcast too. But yeah, so I gotta watch. This is in my lineup of stuff to watch.
So what do you think about Crystal Renee? I mean, I know what I think. Huh?
I love her.
I do too, and I saw that she was on the like the B Simone joint that she just started, and Chris she has a bunch of stuff that she's doing, so I'm definitely here for her. I feel like she's one of those people that what you see is what you get, and like the real vibe and energy is what you're viewing. So shout out to her. Hopefully she's doing her thing. I think she probably is, but yeah. I didn't know she was on the Dear Future Wifey podcast. I have not been following. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's my algorithm or if I just need to get a better schedule about me, but there's certain podcasts that like I love to listen to, but I haven't gone back and listened to. This is one of them. So I think the last one I saw was, the last one I saw was him and Megan, Megan Ashley. So it wasn't that far. That wasn't
that was recent.
But yeah, I need to get back on my listening to this. But I can't wait for this. Like, I also love just the space that we're in this day and age where you can like put out a product like a book or whatever you're working on, and then go and run the gamut of like, podcasts and shows that are out. I just think that's very cool. I just think that it's cool that Black people have their established sort of like channels or spaces that you don't have to be on NBC. You don't have to be on ABC. You don't have to be on CBS if you don't want to. You don't have to be contrived and controlled and you can't say this, you have to wear this, you have to be here. You know what I mean? It's like, no, this is real conversation, real Black people own these entities. I love it. So,
and you never know what's going to come out when two different people get together. Like, our whole makeup is about engaging with each other, and it's just like if you and I were like 10-year-olds, right? And we saw each other on the playground, we would be like, hey, what's your name? I have this. What toy do you have? And then we would share and we would play, and then who knows, what will happen? Like, we might
what will happen? Yep.
friends, or we might decide to write a book together or whatever, right? So my point is, like, I love when we all, kind of when get together and have conversations about, a lot of these conversations, a lot of them surround dating, but a lot of them also surround like mindset, stuff like that. So I just love to see these people talking and see what comes out of conversations. So interviews are my thing. And like shout out to Kamisha too, because Kamisha interviews people, but she not only interviews like people from like Ready to Love and own shows or whatever, but she actually interviews people from Big Brother and CBS, the Netflix shows and things like that. But stuff comes out of that too because people want to share. They want to talk about themselves. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
I just love it. I just love it. Anyway.
I saw, that she was doing an interview with Willie Jones, who sang on the Beyonce album, and I love that. So, for sure, like it's about getting people's stories out there.
Yeah, because you just never know. We only get a little piece of what we see on people on TV or if we listen to their music or whatever. So if they get a chance to talk to somebody and then a person just asking them questions about what they think about stuff, I think that's like the sauce because somebody's going to be able to relate. It might start another important conversation in somebody else's group.
Yes.
So I feel like that's what it's all about. Like everybody who has a podcast should just lean into being themselves. Like the people who don't like you, who you're not there, you might not be for them, that they'll go find another channel, you know what I'm saying? Or they'll go to find another podcast or whatever. So I just think it's all interesting and we can see how it works because they are all just being themselves, you know what I mean? They're just talking.
So. And then you're right. And then you get in those spaces and two minds who, maybe think similarly, maybe don't, but like they get into a conversation and they start to touch on different topics and bring different viewpoints. And it's a space that's created that maybe has never been created or like there's something to participate in that, wouldn't have been the case with two other people. So it's like, it's exciting to see these conversations and participate in them and have them be saved so that, that's what I love about podcasts. It's like, you can go back and like share that conversation as many times as you want to.
And on top of that, like it's certain podcasts that once you get like, think of Lewis House, think of Jay Shetty, think of, the Billios, Mel Robbins, like that. Once you get into a circuit, like all of those people are still interviewing the same people. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it matters what questions they're asking, what kind of angle they're going to take. So that's my point. Like everybody is a unique individual. So you should always be looking to like, see what you can learn from the next person. Like what is, what kind of conversation could you have? Because it's also audience sharing too. Like my audience might not, be familiar with this person's audience and this, vice versa. And you just never know. So I like it. But
I like it too. But you know what? You just put me onto a bunch of stuff that I need to make sure that I am watching. So I still haven't, oh gosh, guys, I still haven't watched the Tabitha Brown on Lewis House. I got to go back and start with that. I got to finish the Amanda and Shannon Sharp joint, even though that's a doozy. I got to watch this Dear Future Wifey joint. And there's a bunch of other stuff happening. So B. Simone, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, has her Let's Try This Again podcast, which actually did very well the following week. She like charted. And so I was like so glad to see that because it's like I really want to support everybody out here doing hard work. So I got a lot of stuff to catch up on, guys, but I'm excited.
Me too. And those are just the interviews I got to catch up on because
it's true.
To touch on reality TV real quick. So Ready to Love is ended, but now Owen has brought us the Never Ever Mets that comes on Fridays and at the same time that Ready to Love was to come on.
The Never Ever Mets. Why does that sound familiar?
It's because it just came. The first episode came on last Friday. Basically, it is people who have been dating online for a certain amount of time. Some of them 6 months, some of them 10 months, one of them is 12 years. And they're supposed to meet each other for the first time and live in the same house. And they're going to have relationship challenges. And there's the lady that played Portia on Empire, Taronda Jones, I think her name is.
Yeah.
She is the voice of reason on the show or whatever. But they also have like relationship experts involved if somebody wants to talk. However, the first episode aired, and it was a bunch of red flags in that jump. But before I could even get to review it, one of the couples came out and said that, okay, so I have to give a little spoiler here, because one of the couples that was on there, they got into like a little physical altercation, like she was talking about another dude's shorts, and he got mad that she was like flirting with this guy. He felt like she was flirting with this guy, and they got into like a verbal back and forth that ended up with her being pushed, and you know what I'm saying?
No, okay.
And so I'm like, why are we watching this happen? Like, what are we doing? So I didn't even do a video about a recap. I just did a video asking what the fuck are we doing? Because it was crazy. I think they ended up getting put off the show, but fast forward, they came out and they said that it was fake. They already knew each other. They did this for TV or whatever, right? But it was like that part wasn't fake because it kind of got out of hand. Like they were playing apparently first, and then it got to like somebody slapboxing, right? Like slapboxing.
Yeah, that's never a good idea, people.
So that's what they trying to say happened, and they like it wasn't no domestic violence. It wasn't this. I'm not y'all think that y'all got me all figured out because Kojo came and said something, and a couple of other people came and said something. I think Kamisha talked to them on Instagram, but she's gonna be interviewing the girl Alexis on Saturday, I think it is.
Okay.
So that's going to be interesting because I think they got kicked off the show for that. I think they got removed off the show for that because I didn't see them in any of the other previews. But so basically they're saying that they just did that for TV. They just out here, they were friends and that's what happened. And this was filmed 2 years ago. So that's even more making me feel like, y'all had all this time to sit here and edit this, and this is how y'all portraying it. So anyway, so that's that. But there are some other interesting, couples on there. I feel like, there probably are one or two real ones sprinkled in there, but we'll see what happens. But
can I just say, sidebar? I hope this doesn't ruin anything, but like, whoever's working for OWN right now, or in these past like 5 or 6 years, I feel like they have a lot of stories to tell. And I feel like there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that they know is not, I feel like they know that it's uncouth. And,
the show that we would like to see is behind the scenes.
Yes.
Behind the
scenes of the OWN. Yeah.
Disgruntled employee from OWN that is fed up with how everything is going, that wants to come out and talk, and that person needs to come out here and do an interview with one of the interviewers for the reality world, whether it be Kamisha, Kojo, Crystal, whoever. That's the person we need to interview. That disgruntled employee that is ready to walk off the job now
and tell us everything that's happening.
Everything.
For sure, like why these shows get delayed, why are these shows 2 years old and you're just airing it, who's sleeping with who behind the scenes as far as production and others. Like I want to know a lot of stuff that's happening over there because it seems like a crazy shit show. And like I'm not even lying, like I remember years ago, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, somebody complaining about like the makeup crew or something like that. And like, there's just been so many things that have happened, like, like them not being served food or like drinks or whatever. And they're being in a situation for like 12 hours with no sustenance. I want to know it all. I would love to do that interview.
Yeah, they said that they ate this season, but we'll see. The next season is supposed to be in Philly, so we'll see how that goes. I guess these things all want to be unruly today. So we'll see how that goes. But right now, just like last season, we took a break in between the Ready to Love to watch Ready to Love make a move, right? And now we have the Never Ever Met. And I'm going to tell you, I'm here for the reality TV of it all because this show is going to be producing a lot of just drama. And this is only episode 1, okay? And so, stay tuned for that interview. Like I said, Kamisha's interviewing her on Saturday. And then she also does the recap like she did Ready to Love too. So go over there for that. But other than that, I don't have anything else for tonight. Back over to you, sis.
Yeah, I don't have anything else tonight, but I did promise everyone that I would name that one dread that is unruly. Everyone. The top one, his name is Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick.
Patrick. And then the other one's name...
It never fails. It just be just like that.
That other one, the thick one beneath that one, his name is Stanley. The one that's like he's there for the show. Like he isn't the one that like stands up and does the thing, but he's the one that like enables bad behavior. Stanley is the thick one at the bottom, and then Patrick is the one that's like, I'll do it. Patrick's that asshole that's like, hey everybody, look at me. I'll do it.
Yeah. Thank you for naming that. Patrick is
his name look, and he sounds like Kevin Hart. Oh my God. Anytime you see that guy at the top acting out of character, just listen to whatever he's saying is in Kevin Hart's voice. That's Patrick.
Oh my goodness.
Stanley, I don't know his voice yet. I gotta get to know him a little bit longer, but Stanley is enabling Patrick. So that's the story, everybody. Listen, this was a great show. I love talking to my sister as usual. We're so glad that you guys joined us for another week of fun. We don't know what's going to happen next week on the internet streets, but we will keep you tuned in. So come back and join us. If you like this, make sure you like and subscribe. If you didn't like this, just don't say anything. Just don't say or type anything and have a great life. But anyway, I had a great time and I'm so excited. And we'll see y'all next week.
Yes, we'll see y'all next week. Thanks. Peace, everybody. Peace.